Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to Gratitude Happy Hour. This is a new series that is beginning today on this show, and it's called Healing Emotionally After Trauma. It's said that the longest journey that we take is from our head to our heart. And we are constantly taking that journey, aren't we? I'm hoping that you will join us as we discuss the emotions that we feel and getting out of our headspace and really tuning in to what's going on inside of us, what's going on with us emotionally. Every week, I'll be bringing in a different guest, and they will help us to explore emotions that come up with different life traumas. We're going to explore grief and loss and what happens after a really traumatic event, such as a near-death experience or a chronic or sudden illness. All of these things leave an emotional imprint, and that is what we're hoping that we can bring out each week to really look at. Every week there will be a healing exercise that will happen. I am an energy healer and a Reiki practitioner, as well as other energy healing modalities. So on this show, as we do the exercises to really open up and look at our emotions, there will be healing energy sent forward for wherever that emotion is being held in your body. And we'll look at ways that you can explore that, and you can explore how to let go. We'll be doing some releasing of those energy cords. So I'm really excited about this new show. I hope you are too. If you like the show, or you like the concept, you don't even know yet if you like the show, but you like what you're hearing right now, please help us share this out. Share it to anyone that could benefit from the information, from the energy, from just getting a blessing through gratitude today, because that's a huge part of our healing journey, healing through gratitude. So with that being said, we will now start today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello everyone, and welcome to Gratitude Happy Hour.
We're not going to listen to it again. Hello everybody. Hello and welcome. I am so excited to be bringing you this new show starting today. This is the very first one. I'm Teri Angel, and I have with me my guest, Lisa Jo Davis. Lisa, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Teri. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining in. I love your energy. I've known you for a while. Like I say, I don't talk in numbers anymore. We'll just say for a while.
Yes.
And I just love what you bring to the table as far as your ability to bring out healing energy, to share of yourself so real and so authentically. And that's one thing that's going to happen on these shows every week. It's going to be authentic. It's going to be sharing of experiences. I'm going to get very real and very raw. So you may see some tears. I have my box of Kleenex nearby because we're dealing with emotions. And emotions are expressed in different ways. And one of the ways I express mine is through tears. So there you go. Just be prepared. So I want to share how this all came to be. Last year, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it was a very traumatic time. It was one of my life traumas. I've had a few, but that was a really huge one. And I really struggled with it. I really had to try to understand what was going on, why that happened, and what I was supposed to do with all of it. So I had a little conference with my angels, and Lisa Jo is the one that actually introduced me to the hosting the archangels, where you have them come and sit with you for 5 days in your home. So as they were there with me, I had this little conference with them, and I said, okay, I really don't understand this. I don't understand what's happening, and why this is a part of my life right now, and what I'm supposed to do from now on with it. And they really shared with me that this is something that I'm going to be doing for the rest of my lifetime here, is working with people with their emotions and healing any emotions that come up after a trauma. And trauma can mean many things. It can mean an illness. It can be a chronic or sudden illness. It can be a near-death experience, and we're going to talk about that today. It can be a loss and the grief that comes after a loss. It's many things, but we experience those in our lifetimes because that's what we're here doing. We're here learning and growing and really experiencing all that life has to offer. So that's how the show came to be. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know what form it was going to take. And one thing that I refer to when I talk about going through these traumas, it's like going through a fire. It's like a fire by trial by fire. And I kept seeing how I would rise out of that fire emotionally and mentally and physically. I never had a doubt that I would heal physically, but I knew that there was a lot of work to do with those emotions. So we'll talk about that as we get into the program today. So fire is huge. It burns things instantly, but you have to put it in the fire, right? we can't just think it and it's going to happen. We have to actually release it and let it go. So that's going to be a part of the process every week. We're going to be sharing some tools and tips and things that you can do to let go of some of that emotional trauma. And we're going to do some healing. Lisa Jo is an energy healer. She knows many modalities, as do I. And so when we do the experiential part today, where we guide you through releasing some of your emotions, we will be actually sending out healing energy right to you, right to those places where you're feeling that emotion. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the show. I'm excited about my guest, Lisa Jo. And I really want to hear from you, Lisa, about your experience. I know there's been more than one experience, but specifically, if you would tell us and give us some of the background about what happened with your near-death experience, and then we'll talk about what came up afterward and the healing that had to take place emotionally for you.
Okay, so yeah, I've had two near-death experiences. The first one was in 2014, and I had internal bleeding. Um, it was it was just really weird, though. It was just like they had to take me to the nearest hospital because I was just going downhill so fast that they thought that they were going to lose me and everything. But through the process of this happening, I kept getting reassurance thoughts. And I actually did hear in my mind that everything was going to be okay. Actually, outside of my ear, in a man's voice, I heard everything was going to be okay. And I had been praying from, home to the hospital, to allow my angels and Jesus and God to please help me and everything. But it was really strange. Although I was going through so much pain, I just knew that I was going to be here. This wasn't how I was going out. And I even, my family was all concerned, and I jokingly, to make them feel better, but I knew in my heart that this wasn't the way I was going out. I had too much to do and just too many people to help, within my own family. This was before I started into the healing modalities and learning more about them. But that in itself was a road back from, I want to say, hell, because
Yeah.
it did seem like that to me, because I lost a lot of body functions with my arms and my legs. I was shuffling around. I had to have, help with getting dressed, and I had a limited mobility, and I had to rely on my family a lot to help me through that. And laying in bed, I was just so angry that I was like this, and I didn't understand why it was happening to me in the process of everything. I just knew everything was going to be okay. And I firmly have always thought that um, before all of this happens, that our experiences are brought to us for reasons. And we can either look at them as teaching type of experiences, or we can just kind of go into that hole. And I was digging the hole to be in. I was feeling sorry for myself. You know how it goes. And, finally I
Going
just
into
thought,
the victim mentality.
yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, enough. I can't be like this anymore. I have to do something. And when you're laying in pain, whether you're sitting down, laying down, walking, or whatever, but when you're in that mode of trauma or even pain, you get locked into that. And it's hard for most people to get out of that thought and that process of being in that place where you're stuck. And slowly, praying, I got messages to start sending healing to myself. And so I would pray and ask the angels, because I didn't know how to do it, just other than, help me. I didn't know what angel to ask for. Of course, God has that all taken care of for us. All we have to do is just request the angel come to us, and the right angel comes. So I was gifted by um, beginning to feel better, calling in the angels. And then I started seeing sparks coming out of my fingers at night. I would see orbs. So it was a slow process. And then you and I connected together, and I started learning different modalities that allowed me to understand my process of healing. And I used those because I learned, the time heals modality from you. So I'm a master teacher in that. I learned some Reiki, and over time I had developed some other type of modalities on my own. A lot of them are meditation type of works. And then in 2018, at the end of the year, um, I had another near death experience where I really thought that I was going not to come back. I was had some internal issues with scar tissue wrapped around my bowels, and it was just luckily a matter of moments. I was literally on the ground in the hospital. I came off my bed, reaching for the little button to push to get the nurse in there and tell him I need the doctor now, because I just felt that I was like losing my life force. And it was God sent it was like God heard me, and in through the doors comes the doctor, and she's like, we found out what's wrong with you. We're rushing you in right now. And I'm like, where's my husband? And he was on his way home, and we contacted him. And just as soon as they got me ready and got me going into the operating room, he just got there. And mind you, we live like 30 minutes away, so he got there in about 20 minutes. And I was able to talk with him, and because I didn't know whether I was going to see him or not, and they told me that was a possibility that I might not make it out of the surgery. So having been through that one, I think, was the hardest for me, because I was in the hospital for 5 days. I was getting depressed. I didn't understand what was going on. And I really think, after bringing myself out of the first depression and, being able to move forward, it was a lot harder this last time, because I visited the dark side of myself, what I was scared of and what type of fears that I had. Everything that I had a fear of came up for me. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with these kind of things. But in all honesty, they were trapped emotions that were inside of us. And if you don't deal with those, they rear up and they attack your body, and your body starts going haywire, and you don't understand why. And, and it's just the simplest things, but it's just healing yourself. It's just working and going through the process of working through those emotions, and forgiving yourself, forgiving somebody else, asking for the angel. Well, for me, it was asking the angels to come in, and assist me, because my connection with them through hosting the archangels and learning different modalities, I was able to start, for me, my gift was starting to be able to challenge and challenge myself, but do channeling for other people messages. So it's been a very long road, but it took me a whole year, I believe, from this last experience to fully heal, where I felt like I could actually contribute again and assist other people.
Mm-hmm. I understand that totally. It's been, this month is a year since I knew that there was something wrong in my body. So it takes time to process all of that. But I want to touch on some of the things that you said.
Sure.
Number one is to become emotionally aware. So you knew that you had those emotions. You didn't know what to do with them, but you knew they were there. When I first got the confirmation that, yeah, this was cancer, this was something that had to be dealt with, I was angry. I was so angry. And I know you mentioned the anger that you felt. It's like, what do we do with those? What do we do with those emotions? And many people don't feel like they can express that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was
And
like, really?
yeah,
This is happening again?
right. Yeah, me too.
Haven't I done enough good yet?
Exactly. So
But
there are,
it happens, it just shows it can happen to anybody. You're not prone for it not to happen, if you don't
right,
take care of yourself. And sometimes it could be something from the past that you just,
mhm,
haven't dealt with. So
right.
yeah, I do agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. So there were many different emotions that came up for me, and I know from listening to you, there were many for you. And it's so important to acknowledge the emotions, to really give them a voice, let them come out, express them. You can say, and I said this to God, I said it to the angels, I'm really pissed right now. I'm really upset and I'm angry that I'm in this situation. And I wasn't angry at God, that never came out, but I was just angry that this was happening in my life. And I didn't quite know how to deal with it, but I felt like I wanted to hang on to that anger. I don't know if you ever felt that, but it's like, I want to hang on to this anger for a minute. I want to really be mad.
It can use it, you can turn around and use that to your advantage.
Oh, I
You either
did.
get tired of being mad and you turn it
Yeah.
inward, as like you
Right.
said, like a phoenix rising. You felt like you were a phoenix rising out of the fire. And I too use the same terminology when I was going through that.
Right.
So yeah, you go through all those emotions.
You do. You go through them, and not resisting them is so important, because the more we resist something, it's like you're pushing against the door, right? You're just really holding it at bay, but it's still there. It didn't go anywhere. And it won't go anywhere until you release it, until you actually let it out. And the first part of that is saying, okay, I see you. You're there. I know you're there. And it's okay to be there. And that's the whole thing, especially with some of the things like anger and sadness. There was sadness because I knew what I was going to go through. I was going to lose a body part. And I'm like, I'm really sad about what's happening. So saying it's okay, accepting all those emotions is the beginning of healing them, to not fight them, but to let it come up and come out of you. And that's a big thing that I had to find out. Sometimes the hard way, because I'd be so mad sometimes I wouldn't even let myself relax enough to meditate. I'm like, I just want to be mad today.
It does. I know what you're saying. And when you are, like, for me, when I was going through it and stuff, there would be days where I'd be really positive, And the next day I would be angry at myself, angry at, why am I doing this? And I know there's stuff I got to learn, but, can we just do it now and get it over with?
Right.
Can we just start all over and just, but it doesn't work that way. Because
No,
when
it
you're
really
really ready to do your inner work and process all of those emotions and stuff, it is working on yourself. It takes a lot of guts to face some of the things that you may have trapped inside of you.
Mhm. Yeah. One of the things that I've been shown, Lisa Jo, that the importance of getting this out there and really talking about it, discussing it, is that the medical personnel can help us with the physical.
Yes.
They helped me. I had surgery. They helped you. You had surgery. But they don't really know how to help us deal with the emotions. It's like, okay, you're good. The cancer's gone. This has been healed up for you. And I'm sitting there like, okay, that just happened, but I still have all this feeling. So the medical personnel, they have their place and they're wonderful and they're great at helping us. But who's dealing with our emotions? Some people go into counseling and they really are able to talk about it, and that's wonderful. But we really have to spend that time getting to know ourselves, don't we? Really seeing
Yeah,
those emotions.
it's so true and stuff. I was like crying and crying and crying in the room. And every time somebody came in, they saw me crying. And I'm like, I'm so grateful that I'm alive, but I just don't understand. And they, do you want to speak to, a minister? And I'm like, sure.
Right.
And so they came in and they prayed with me, and I felt better. But it was funny because the next day they came in, they go, do you want to go home? Because we think that, being around family might, help you heal a lot faster.
Right.
But they also suggested counseling, and that kind of takes care of some of the surface stuff. It may get you started, and it may be great for a lot of people. But it was like, for me, my experience was, well, there was more to work on, and I didn't go seek counseling and stuff. I did, talk to a lot of my friends, social friends and stuff that,
Right.
like you and everybody, some other people and stuff that really helped
Mhm.
get me through that process. But it really is a kind of if you don't have anyone to share, you may think you're going crazy with all of the not knowing how to process
Mhm.
any of those emotions.
Exactly.
And then they
Exactly.
get trapped inside of you
They get trapped
again.
inside of you. And let's talk about what happens when we're not dealing with those emotions and some of the ways that people choose to not deal with them. A lot of people numb themselves. They don't want to feel those emotions. They don't want to have to look at that. So they numb themselves. There's a lot of people that develop addictions to, like, the painkillers that were given. I never took a painkiller after my surgery. I was like, no, I don't want it. I don't put foreign stuff in my body anyway, so I don't want that. But many people feel that they need that to dull the pain. And then there can be an addiction afterward, or they can use alcohol or other drugs to just escape, right? That's what they're looking for,
Yeah.
is just that escape from the emotions.
Yeah. With me, I did take the pain pills, but they, after the second day and stuff, I started having nightmares. And the nightmares were so scary that I'm like, I'm not taking any more pain pills. So yeah, it's really weird how your body reacts to medications and,
Mhm.
but it's great that you were able to do that without medication. I'm sure it was very difficult for you doing that.
I think it was sheer determination
Yeah.
because I've worked so hard to not have to have medication. I've
Hmm.
really taken care of, what I put in my body and all of that. And I'm like, I don't really want anything for it. And I don't take any medication on a regular
Yeah.
basis. So it was already in my mind that I wasn't going to take anything for the pain. and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I was able to really do a lot of meditating and a lot of breathing. And breathing is important. We're going to talk about that when we get into the experiential part. But another way that people deal or don't deal with emotions is trying to run from them,
Yes.
trying to
Yes.
run away. And there's so many people that are hurting, and they think, well, if I just change, where I'm at, if I change friends, or if I change my place that I live, my location or my job, then, it'll be better, right? And
Yeah,
we
and
judge.
then some people are like, I lost my train of thought, so go ahead.
That's okay.
It must have
But
not been that important. So
what happens is wherever you go, there you are. You're taking all of that stuff with you, and that's what's not being seen. Is it has to be cleared inside, not anything external.
I know it was putting yourself on the back burner because you want to focus on everybody else. Sometimes people just want to go in and go, okay, I'm done. I'm better. I'm out of the hospital. I'm over that traumatic experience. And now I'm just going to forget about it because I've been there, done that, and it's gone. And then they focus on other people and other things, which isn't a bad thing. However, if you're, like you said, if you don't deal with those, to me, I look at it as being in the middle of the merry-go-round where the workers stand and everything goes around you. And these are all your problems, all your issues, pain, any emotions that you've trapped or put aside or you've put yourself by. And to me, they go around and they just rear themselves up again. It's like you just keep seeing it until you grab it and go, okay, I'll deal with this one now. I'll deal with this emotion. That's all I can do is just deal with one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love that, Lisa Jo. Thank you for that visual, because it really helps when we can see something in our mind and know what we're talking about. So thank you for that. Um, what are some of the coping mechanisms do you think that you used? I know you talked about, being able to talk to a counselor,
Yeah, the
using the
counselor
angels,
pardon me?
using the angels to help.
Yes, that, I passed on the counseling. The angels were my counselors and,
Yeah, I
having a
did.
good support, even if it's just one friend to listen to you, to allow
Mhm.
you to vent without judgment is a
Right.
great way. But for me, it was connecting with the inside of me, with my higher self, with the angels, allowing God's energy, to be transferred to the areas that I needed to deal with as far as the pain goes. And some of the things that, I did was just rely on my inner strength and my inner faith that, I knew I just had to keep, sometimes you have to be your best cheerleader, or sometimes
Mhm.
you're your only cheerleader. And whenever I would start saying something like, oh God, I'm having a bad day, I would stop myself. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
that's kind of negative talk. So let's reword that. I'm having an extremely rough day, God. Can you help me? Or like I did something stupid, so it's just turning, that wasn't stupid. That was just silly.
Mhm.
So turning around positive things to say to yourself, like you said, even if you're not feeling that good, you can say, I feel healthy today.
Mhm.
Or, I would also look at, well, I feel a lot better today than I did a week ago, or,
Right.
a month ago, or 2 months ago. I may be going through a lot of rough times and rough emotions, pain, or just the trauma of memories coming back of the experience. And it was just a way of allowing that process to heal.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I used a lot of positive talk as well. So, what I would start saying is, I feel stronger today. I feel stronger today. And just doing that and turning, like you said, turning anything that started to come up, it's like, nope, I'm not looking back. Because when we look back, that's when the emotions really start flooding in and we're looking at what was, that's gone. The only moment we have is right now. So what I would try to do is like, okay, what's going on right now? And how am I feeling in this moment? I may not feel 100%, but I do feel stronger. I do feel healthier and definitely happier. So I would always try to give myself some reinforcement. And the other thing is not to project forward, especially if you haven't had the full treatment for whatever the issue is that you're dealing with. Like with cancer, there's so much to it,
Yeah.
and you can always think the worst, don't we? We always go to that place.
Well,
It's like
they go, well, I'm sure from, they tell you, well, you got to have this done, this done, this done, this done, and this is going to happen.
Mhm.
And you're just totally overwhelmed
It
with
is
everything. And I use that example with my kids going through multiple surgeries with them. And when they were telling us things about them, it was just too overwhelming to hear it all. But when you
Yeah.
break it down in steps, it's a lot easier to cope, especially if,
Mhm.
like with you, you knew what was going to what was going to happen
Yeah.
in the future with your procedures and follow-up care and everything that came with it. But, you still have to deal with all those emotions and what if.
Right. The unknown. That's
Yeah,
where the
no.
fear comes in. And that's where these emotions get stuck in us is dealing with that fear. And the only time we're going to go into that fear is if we're looking back or if we're looking forward and projecting. If we stay in the very now moment and we use the tools that we can learn to cope with all of this, we're not going to go into panic. We're not going to go into sadness or anger or that emotional state. We're going to heal. And that's what we want to help with on this show. We want to really give a lot of tools, give a lot of information about what can be done. How can we heal? We're not psychologists or psychiatrists. We're not medical personnel. We are just caring individuals. And yes, Lisa Jo and I both have been trained in healing modalities. Some of the people that I'll bring on this show don't have training in healing modalities, but they have a lot of experience in how they overcame what happened with them, with their traumas. So I really hope that this will make a difference for you. And just please understand, this is us coming from our heart and not from any formal educational training that, we're going to psychoanalyze or anything. We're just sharing what works, what we know from our experience
I
works.
would like to back up a little bit when you were talking about living in the now. There's so much gratefulness and gratitude that can come in just living in and recognizing the moment that you're in, and honoring that moment of that experience, even if it's just washing dishes, but just being in the now moment. Um, I kind of like when I'm in that now moment and I'm having a lot of joy, I like to bank that joy. I put it in my old file box in my mind, and I like to bask in that happiness and that joy, and just let it resonate through your body, because we let pain and discomfort and sadness resonate, but how often do we allow the happiness and the joy resonate through our body?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Because gratitude does heal. What they
Yeah.
found from measuring our emotions is that gratitude vibrates at the same vibration as love. So when we're giving out gratitude in whatever way we do that, whether it's a hug, an expression of gratitude, or just holding it in our heart, we're really feeling love and giving love. And love is what heals. And that's what we're going to share with you with this healing today that we're going to take you into. Also, you mentioned something there about, I can't remember exactly how you said it, but something about doing something normal. And that's one thing that I found as well when I was in the midst of all of the treatments and everything I had to go to, doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment, testing after testing. And I just got so sick of being either in a hospital room or a doctor's office. And I said, I have to do something normal. I just need to do something normal right now. So I would go do my laundry, or like you said, do the dishes, mop the floor, anything that, would be considered normal.
Right, right.
And it does help. It does help to snap you back into the present when you do that.
Yeah, a lot of people have panic attacks, thinking about the trauma that they've been through and stuff. And if you think about your senses when you're in the midst of that, and, especially like you were just talking about being in the hospital, and, sometimes it's just the white walls, or they call it what doctor syndrome and stuff. Sometimes just, can you taste something? Can you smell something? Can you see something? Can you hear something? And then you speak something. So these are things that you can connect with your senses to allow yourself to bring yourself back into the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And find your tribe. Find those people that are going to stand beside of you, that's going to send you a text or call you up on the phone or even come for a visit. I had the most wonderful experience when I was going through my cancer. I really did. I had people that were constantly coming to check on me or bringing food. And that's another thing, when you know that somebody's going through something traumatic and they're all alone. I live alone. So there's people that brought food, that cooked it and brought it so I could put it in my freezer and wouldn't have to do that for myself every day. There were people that came to stay with me and just sit there and just keep me company. I had so many texts. And one thing that I loved, Lisa Jo, when I first found out about what I was going through, I sent out a message and I asked for people to make me laugh. I said, just make me laugh. I don't care what it is. I don't care maybe how disgusting it might be even.
Right.
Just make me laugh, because laughter raises the vibration faster than anything, anything. So when you can have that release of laughter, and that is what heals as well. It really just puts you into that state of allowing and releasing all of the expectations or anything that's going on in your life at the moment. So that was beautiful. And people still do send me funnies because they know I like to laugh now. But find who's going to help you. Find your tribe, your ones that say, I'll be there no matter what. And they are. They follow through with that. And that's very important to have that support system. And that's another thing that I was shown that I'm supposed to be doing, and I will do, and I am already doing that, is reaching out to anyone that is going through one of their fires, whatever it may be. And I can talk about anything pretty much, any experience that people have had, and let them know they're not alone. Be there, hold their hand, even if it's 3,000 miles away. I can still hold your hand virtually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can still share love with you. So that's important, to have those people are going to be there, because you need that. This is what I've found. You really do need that support while you're going through it. So let's do some healing. I want you to, if you're ready to do this, if you don't feel like you can do it, maybe you're not in a place right now where you can be quiet and quiet your mind and go through the experience, that's okay. But just know that you can always come back to this video and you can go through the experience at your own time and in your own place and be comfortable with it. We're going to be sending some healing, and one of the things I want to mention is we have energy centers in our body. They're called chakras. And those all correspond to different organs and different places and things in our body. So when the energy is stuck in one of those chakras, that's probably where you're going to start experiencing some of the pain. So we're going to guide you to scan your body and find out if there's anything that you're feeling that may feel a little heavy, that may feel a little different than the other places. And so when you find that, if there's anything there, just remember where it was at, because we're going to go back and we're going to send some healing there. And if you want, as you're doing this experience with us, if you want to type into the comment where you're feeling that pain in your body, or that emotion, or that heaviness, Lisa and I can focus the energy right there. We can send that energy. We both use the angels as our guides and use the angels to really do the healing. Archangel Raphael is a beautiful healing angel, and he guides every energy healing that there is, and every healing physical that there is as well. So let's get started. What I want you to do, first of all, is place your hand on your heart. And the reason for that is wherever you're touching on your body, that's where your focus goes. So we want to really be heart-centered as we're doing this experience. If you can, safely close your eyes. That helps you to experience it more deeply and cuts out any external things that you're seeing. But if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. Or if you're in a place that's not safe, then don't do that. So what I want you to do is take a deep breath in, and then hold it and release it. Take another deep breath in, hold, and then slowly release it. And now I want you to start scanning, starting with the top of your head. That's your crown chakra. Just take your breath and focus it right to the top of your head. Feel into the energy there. How does it feel? This is your own energy that you're in touch with right now. Deep breath in. Relax it out. And you're going to do that with all 7 of the chakra centers. The next place you will go is to the brow chakra, the third eye chakra, right in the middle of your forehead. Breathe in. See if that feels different than your crown felt. Is there anything in there that feels heavy or doesn't feel like it's moving? The stagnant energy is what you're looking for. And now let's move it down to the throat chakra. Breathe in deeply. Breathe back out. Now bring your breath to your heart center, beautiful heart chakra. Breathe in deeply, and then back out. Feel some emotion there. Wow. Okay, so let's go on to the solar plexus, the next chakra, the top of the abdomen. Breathe in deeply and hold it. And relax it back out, paying attention to anything there that feels like it's not moving or heavy or even painful. And then move to your sacral chakra. And here you're going to breathe in deeply into that area. Oh, there's a lot of emotion being held there. You can feel it. There's like a real heaviness that just came over. Breathe in deeply, hold it, and release. And let's move on to the root. This is your foundation. So Breathe in deeply down, all the way down from your tailbone down to your feet. Focus on that whole area of your foundation, your base. And then breathe it back out and relax it. Okay. I could really feel a lot of heaviness with some people. The heart was very heavy. The sacral was very heavy. So if anyone wants to place in the comments where you felt that, then Lisa and I are going to direct some energy there. But first, I want you to put your hand back on your heart center. And as you breathe in this time, find something that's in your memory that was a joyful moment for you. Something that either made you laugh, made you smile, something that was just so pleasant that it brought joy to your life. And I want you to breathe that energy in of that joy. Let it fill your whole being with that joy. Do you feel that? Do you feel how wonderful and warm that is? Give another breath in. Okay, now let's revisit those places inside that you felt the heaviness. Kuka's with us, and she said she couldn't take a big breath in her heart and her root. So Kuka, we're going to focus some healing energy there. But what I want you to do as you breathe into those areas again, I want you to remember that moment of joy that you just experienced. Bring that joy right to that place inside of you where you felt the heaviness before. And anyone else that's listening, if you identified your place where there was maybe some stuck energy, energy that's not moving, energy that's causing some discontent or actual pain for you, breathe into that place and focus on the joy that you experienced with holding onto your heart center and really bringing it inside. So right now, Lisa and I are sending some healing energy to you. And what I want you to do, I want you to look at that place inside where you felt the heaviness or you felt pain. I want you to acknowledge it and send it that love, send it that joy, and say, I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for the experience that created that energy inside of me. And I love you. I love you. I love you. Pay attention now if there's anything going on as we send energy and as you send love. See if the energy of it changes, if the color or the shape of it changes. Is there any movement of it at all as you focus in on it? Some of these emotions have been hiding in there for a while, for a long time. So just doing this experience will help, but you may need to repeat it. And I want to share that with you, that at any time you can come back and repeat this experience. So again, breathing love into that energy field. Saying either out loud or to yourself, I love you. Thank you. I love you. Thank you for being in my life. Big breath in, and let's do a scan of those areas again where you were feeling it and see if there's any difference. I was sending out Reiki energy as well as a modality called Time Heals. And I felt some release. I felt it feels lighter now. Lisa Jo, are you feeling any difference in the energy?
I do feel a lot of difference in the energy as before. So, but I've also picked up on somebody's solar plexus. It's like a rock. So I don't know who that is. If it's someone that's on here now or in the future, that I like, if it's okay, if we could send healing to that person.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. The solar plexus, there was a lot of heaviness in the heart area, and I know it wasn't just one person. So, any of you that are feeling that, if there's stuck emotion in there, a lot of times if we've gone through heartache or where we perceive that someone else has done something to us, we've had some experiences that weren't so pleasant, that energy, until it's released, will sit there. So just breathe it in. Breathe in this energy that Lisa and I are both sending right now.
That's much better. Thank you.
Let it go.
Take another deep breath and release when you're ready. That feels so much better. How do you feel it?
I felt waves of energy.
Yeah, it's just like,
yeah, it really. And Kuka says she feels light. And thank you. So welcome, Kuka. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, so what happens when we have interactions with others or experiences? We have an energetic cord attached to that, and that's how these emotions are able to just keep on festering and keep building and growing if we don't do a release like what we just did to get rid of them. But also that cord can be cut, and you may not even know what the origin of that emotion was, and that's okay. You don't have to. So what we'll ask now is that our beautiful Archangel Michael reach out to anyone out there right now that is wanting to release that energy, and ask Michael to cut that cord. It doesn't mean you're cutting any person out of your life or you're changing anything that happened. You're changing the energy of it. So as I'm looking now, I see Michael really ministering to a lot of people, really helping many of you to reach into that place that's inside and finally say, I'm done. I want to let go of it. I don't want to hold on to this anymore. It's just like when I had to let go of my anger about the cancer. I was done. I'm like, okay, I'm done with that now. I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to feel this way anymore. So that's the point that you need to get to, is to really say, yeah, it's time. It's time to let it go. So Michael will cut those cords. Oh, and Kuka says, I was able to take a big breath in the solar plexus. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know that, Kuka. So at any time at all, you can replay this video. It's going to be on YouTube. In fact, it's streaming live on YouTube right now. But you'll be able to go and find this video and redo this experience. If there's other places, you can scan your body and see if there's any place that you're holding something, and then do the release. Just let it go. And I'm not saying that flippantly, because it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of courage, actually, to do that, to really say, I'm ready. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to do this. But it is a transformation that happens, isn't it, Lisa Jo? When you
yes. But it's just taking that first step, of just wanting to release it. And sometimes you may have to do it a couple of times to feel that complete release. So you just ask him, if some release goes after you've asked him to cut the cord, evaluate, 1 to 10, If it was at a 10 and then now it's at a 7, just ask Archangel Michael to come in and cut that cord again for you, and watch it go down. Watch the way that you feel about that experience, that trauma or that pain. Watch it go down. So I love working with Archangel Michael and doing that. It's such a release.
Yeah, it really is. Well, we would love to have you all comment on what you felt. Thank you, Kuka, for your comments. I love you so much. And anyone else that's on here right now, or even if you're watching on the replay later, you can still comment. So let us know if this helped. Let us know if you felt anything of what we did today with this experience. And each week I'll be bringing a different exercise, a different tool to give you of how you can help with your emotional state and releasing those emotions. Lisa Jo, I want to thank you for being here with me today, for holding that energy space and sending out the healing energy that you sent. Thank you so much. And I want people to get to know who you are and how to get in touch with you. So if you can share how to do that, I would really appreciate it.
Sure. I do have a website. It's healinglightwithlisajo.com. You can find me on Facebook. I have a business page there, Healing Light with Lisa Jo. And I also have a new group called Your Enhanced Soul. You can look that up as well on Facebook.
Okay. And I will go in and put all of those social media contacts in the comments. So all you have to do is click on them and you can go right to Lisa Jo and reach out to her. She is an amazing energy healer. I have had experience with her over the years of the power that she brings through using the angels, using spirit guides, and all of the love that's poured through. And when I said earlier, love is what heals, this was something that was brought to my attention by the master Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin is a very compassionate ascended master. And when she said that to me, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because love and fear can't be together. So the more you're pouring love into something that needs healing, it's going to push that fear out of the way. And all that's left then is the love. So that's
beautiful.
why when you were guided to go back into that place where you felt the energy being stagnant or painful, the more you can say, I love you, and pour love right in there. Pour love and gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for being part of my experience. That's the healing process. That's what happens. And you're healing yourself. We're sending the healing energy, but the healing is taking place inside of you from your decision, your choice to really release it and let go of it. And I pray that's happening with so many people. I pray that you're really getting a benefit from being here today and watching this. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Lisa Jo, I really appreciate you. Next week, I am going to focus on dealing with the emotions of grief after a loss. And I will have a beautiful co-host with me, Carol Ann Cross. She's in Australia, so it's going to be very early in the morning when she comes on with me. And we are going to hold a discussion about how do we deal with that, how we deal with those emotions when there's been a loss in our life. So I hope you'll tune in next week as well. And every week after that, there will be a different focus and a different co-host. And I really appreciate all of you that were here with me today. I love you all. And thank you for your comments. Thank you for staying with us and for participating, for really doing the healing exercise that we presented for you. It's just one tool that you can use, and there'll be many more coming your way. Lisa Jo, any parting words?
I just hope everyone has a great day, and thank you so much for allowing me on your program today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you all.
Very appreciated. Bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your day or night, wherever you may be, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.